Welcome back, y'all. This is Dragonfire, where the truth always burns bright. Today we're going to start with a story from a woman that just can't bring herself to allow her son and his GF to move back in with her.
AITAH for refusing to let my son and his pregnant girlfriend move back in with me? My son, we'll call him Jake, 23, has always been an independent and hardworking guy. After graduating college, he moved out, got a decent job, and seemed to be doing well for himself. A few months ago, he introduced me to his new girlfriend, we'll call her Emily. She seemed nice enough at first, but over time, I started noticing some red flags. She quit her job shortly after they started dating, claiming she wanted to find something better, but hasn't made much of an effort to look. She also has a bit of a spending problem, always wanting to go out to expensive restaurants and buy new clothes, despite not having a steady income. Recently, Jake came to me with some news. Emily is pregnant, and they want to move back in with me to save money. They plan to get married and raise the baby together. I was taken aback. While I love my son and want to support him, I don't think moving in with me is the right solution. I worked hard to provide a stable home for Jake when he was growing up, and now that he's an adult, I believe he needs to learn how to handle his own responsibilities. I told Jake that while I'm excited to be a grandparent and will help out in other ways, they can't move in with me. I offered to help them find a more affordable place to live and promised to assist with some baby expenses, but I can't have them living under my roof. Emily was furious and accused me of not caring about their future. Jake seemed disappointed but understood my reasoning. Now, Emily has been posting on Facebook about how I'm abandoning them in their time of need, and some of our family members have reached out, saying I should let them move in temporarily. I feel bad, but I also believe that enabling them won't teach them the independence they need.
No ma'am, you're NTA. I mean, helping your son out is one thing, but being forced to help this dead-weight GF of his is another thing altogether. If you had allowed them to move in with you, I could definitely see her trying to live off you for years and using her child as a shield. Doge Ghost posted. She's already pregnant. The plan is in motion. That man is going to be broke for life. Next, we got one from an OP that thinks she might be an AH, just because she didn't tell her coworker that the OP's brother had passed away.
AITA for not telling my coworker my brother has passed away and catching her in a terrible lie? I, 22 female, am a triplet with 2 brothers, but one of my brothers passed away when we were 14. Whenever anyone new asks if I have any siblings, I just say I'm a triplet with 2 brothers. I'm not trying to trauma dump when doing small talk with someone I'm not very close to. From talking to people in grief support, I thought this was relatively common. I started working at a new job 3 months ago. I like my coworkers but still feel like an outsider to them, so when they asked how many siblings I have, I gave the above answer. No problems there. 1 week, I didn't have my car, so my other triplet brother picked me up every day. My coworker, Kate, saw him and thought he was cute and asked me to set them up. I said no because he has a girlfriend. She asked about my other brother, and I just said, he isn't available either. Not a lie, but I guess kind of omission because he's deceased and not just in a relationship. A few weeks later, I hear Kate talking crap about me to the other coworkers our age when I'm in the same lunchroom. She didn't believe that my other brother was unavailable because she saw that he's single on Insta. I have no clue what she's talking about because he never had an account. My best guess is that she assumed one of my male cousins, who shares our last name and is in pics with me and my brother, was actually the 3rd triplet. Who knows? I never engaged with the whispers because I hate confrontation. A day after that, some of my coworkers come up to me and ask what's wrong with me. I was super confused. They then told me that my brother had SA allegations against him in college, and the real reason I didn't set him up with Kate is because I knew he was dangerous, but still supported him. Apparently, Kate said she found all this out from someone who also went to my college. I'm still in the same town. I was shocked and just told them that was impossible because my brother died when he was 14. They didn't believe me, and then called Kate over, and all 3 of them called me liars. I showed them pictures of the funeral, pictures of us at his grave, my brother and I holding his picture at our graduations. Then they all piled on me and called me a liar for not saying my brother was dead. But Kate made up a horrific allegation for no reason. They are all icing me out, and whispers are going around the office. I don't know what they're saying, but no one seems to understand my side. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I talked about my brother the way I always have. The girls made me feel like I was such a horrible person and a liar who can't be trusted, and I don't understand. My family is all on my side, but they're all fiercely protective of me and especially my deceased brother's memory, so it's biased. AITA?
NTA. I'm sorry, but I must have missed the part where it was any of their business. It almost sounds like a popularity contest, which means if you had dug him up and showed them his body, they still wouldn't believe you. Aromatic Mushroom 85 commented, I would make a complaint with your manager or HR about Kate making false rumors about your family and forcing you to discuss your grief. Fudging hell, even if he wasn't deceased. May he rest in peace. I'd not want Kate anywhere near me or my family. It's completely up to you and your story to explain, but maybe next time you could word it different to, he's not available. But she's definitely crazy. Our next story comes from an OP that gave her boss's family swine flu. Oh, the swine.
AITA for infecting my boss's family with swine flu. I work for a corporation. My job is supposed to be hybrid, but it's turned out fully remote, which I'm extremely lucky for. I've only had this job under my current boss for 8 months now, so I've maybe seen my team face-to-face 4 to 5 times. So my team and boss don't know me very well. My boyfriend picked up a serious cough with flu symptoms that got drastically worse over a weekend, and his fever shot to 40 degrees Celsius, 104 Fahrenheit. So we took him to the doctor, got some blood work done because he was in a malaria hotspot African country the week before, and it came back swine flu positive. A day later, I've got all the symptoms, and because it's highly infectious, we didn't think it was a big leap to assume I had swine flu too. I'm not sure if it was because I was a sickly kid or who I am as a person, but when I'm sick, it isn't very obvious. My BF at least knows this. He knows if I say I'm unwell, even if I don't look like it, that means I'm unwell. The only real symptom I was showing was a rough cough now and again. Unfortunately for me, this happened during a big project that had gone belly up and needed damage control, and I was a big part of it. So, when I told my boss I needed to take sick leave, he was understandably panicked, and I could tell he wasn't sure if he believed me. He'd had a few people pull the I'm sick card during a project fail like this. So my boss asked if he could come check in on me, bring me some coffee, and see how I'm doing. I explained to my boss that swine flu is highly infectious, and I'd see, depending on my medical aid finances, which we had already done a dent in for my BFS doctor visit, if I could go to a doctor and get a note. Here's where I might be TA, because when my boss insisted again to come by, I gave up quickly trying to change his mind. I just wanted to sleep, so I told him he's welcome to visit. Long story short, my boss's whole family now has swine flu. My boss didn't say it outright, but I can tell he's kind of upset that I didn't do more to dissuade him from visiting me. My BF thinks I'm TA because I know I hardly look sick, and I could have tried harder to convince my boss not to visit. Personally, I think I get a TA free card when I have a fever of 40C, 104F, and breathing hurts. That part's a joke. But I do feel like my boss could have approached confirming my sickness in ways that didn't involve direct interaction with me, especially after I told him it's highly infectious.
NTA. You did try to convince him not to come. I mean, all it should have taken was you telling him it's infectious. At that point, he should have chosen not to come. Easy peasy. DQ Lineage makes a good point. Your boss put his family at risk by ignoring the advice you gave. Hopefully, everyone recovers quickly, but next time, he should trust his employees' health concerns. Take care of yourself and get well soon. Our last one is about a woman that finds out her child is not her child. Wait a second. How exactly would that work?
AITA to divorce my husband and leave him with the kid after finding out I'm not biologically the mom. I can't believe my life has come to this. All I ever do is go out of my way to help others, but on the few occasions I need help, nobody ever comes through for me. I, 36 female, have been with my husband, 35 male, for a total of almost 10 years. Married for 7. We had what I thought was my child by surrogate over 2 years ago, because after 4 years of trying to conceive with no success, despite medical interventions, it turns out I am unable to carry a child to term. I had always wanted to be a mom. Devastated is an understatement regarding how I felt when I found out I have a medical condition that would make it nearly impossible to carry a baby to term. It was even more upsetting when I had to get a major surgery to remove uterine growths with the hope to increase fertility, and complications during surgery warranted a partial hysterectomy involving removal of my uterus only. I still had my ovaries, so we started looking into the cost of a surrogate. It is really expensive. My close friend since college, who'd already had 2 kids of her own, offered to serve as the surrogate for us to cut down on costs. After 2 disappointing IVF sessions that did not result in pregnancy, she became pregnant on the 3rd try and carried a boy to term for us. I was so happy and busy after the birth, between being a mom and returning to work after a 4-week parental leave, so I didn't notice any warning signs. I should have noticed the red flags and warning signs early on, but did not because I was so exhausted from working so much at my stressful job and 2 part-time jobs to cover most of the bills and anticipated medical and legal costs associated with this friend becoming our surrogate. I was the primary breadwinner. My friend and my husband started talking more, and I would sometimes come home from my weekend job to find her already hanging out at our house when my husband was there. I chalked it up as innocuous, and it's good for her to know my husband better, since she was in the process of hopefully carrying our child for us. I was grateful to have someone helping us have a child. I also thought it weird that our son has brown eyes when both of us have blue. Then I found out that while this is uncommon, it's possible sometimes due to many genes controlling eye color. Recently, it all came to a head when I took our son to a doctor's appointment, and they did metabolic panel and blood tests, which showed that he had a blood type that is not biologically possible to have with me as his mother. He's B positive, I'm A positive, husband is O positive. Immediately, I started worrying it was the fertility clinic's fault and that they'd messed up and implanted a wrong embryo. I started lining up lawyer consultations to possibly sue the clinic and looked into having a DNA parentage test done. The test results showed that I'm not the mother, but my husband still is the father. I was heartbroken and angrier than ever. Talked to lawyers about medical malpractice in the fertility clinic we'd used. Then my husband confessed that he'd slept with my friend, our surrogate, on a few different occasions during our struggle to have her get pregnant with our embryos. This means what I thought was our son conceived by IVF and carried with a surrogate isn't my son at all, and was in fact conceived the old-fashioned way, which I can't ever do. Livid and absolutely broken at the same time doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. I have been breaking down into crying spells over and over again about this. He claims he didn't ever think pregnancy could result because he pulled out, and he had always assumed that he was the reason for our earlier struggles to conceive, both before my hysterectomy and during the IVF insemination process with this friend. I felt an immediate triple betrayal. From what was supposed to be my husband, my friend, and now knowing my child isn't even really mine. I had such white-hot rage and delirium. I immediately left home and stayed at a hotel for almost a week before asking my parents to let me stay at home for a while. I admit I left our son with him. I am now filing for divorce because he cheated and betrayed me in the worst possible way. I have also cut off my friendship with my friend, the surrogate, and feel afraid to trust anyone else now. I have seen a divorce lawyer to see about giving up my legal rights to this kid, so I don't have to face such betrayal or owe child support. My husband and friend admit they were wrong and keep apologizing, but also called me immature and heartless to just give up on my son like that. My parents also say I can't just give up on a kid that I went through so many legal and medical hoops to have. When I told them I refused to stay in a cheater marriage and I'd rather adopt someday with a better, more trustworthy partner, they also told me I was wrong and that maintaining my parental rights isn't much different than if I adopted outright. They said it isn't blood that makes a family. They are all about me divorcing my cheater husband, but keep telling me I'm making a mistake giving up my parental rights. Some of my other friends agree with what I'm doing. A few admitted they weren't big enough to swallow pride and care for an affair baby or to see daily reminders of my friend's betrayal every time I look at her son. I just want a clean break and a fresh start. I'm also looking at relocating several states away, AITA, to give up my parental rights in the divorce because a kid I paid a lot of money to have a baby by surrogacy isn't biologically mine at all, but the surrogates?
Oh my lord, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. Oh, you are so NTA. As for your folks, they could not be more wrong. You don't owe any of them anything. Not your former friend, definitely not your soon-to-be ex-husband, not even their son. Go ahead, get a lawyer, and cut ties with all three. And Ches222 says, NTA, one of the things that gets me is that you were working extra jobs to pay for the surrogacy, which I am assuming included her medical bills and financially supporting her. I would speak to a solicitor about suing her for your money back. She knew that if she was doing your husband, then there was always a chance that the child was biologically hers. Well, on that cheery note, I think that is where we'll end it for the day. But remember, we all have choices that we have to make in life. Be it choosing whether or not to allow your son and his pregnant GF to move in with you, or choosing if you should tell a coworker that your brother had passed away, or choosing whether or not it was your fault that your boss's family got swine flu from you, or choosing whether or not to divorce your husband when you find out that your child is not your child. The choices we make shape and define our destiny. So, choose wisely. Speaking of choosing wisely, please remember to wisely choose to hit like and subscribe and share. It'll really help our channel out. And don't forget, nothing burns brighter than the truth. Well, except maybe for Dragonfire.